Imagine setting sail with your family on a journey that combines adventure, education, quality time, all while getting to explore some of the most beautiful and diverse locations in North America. That's what the Great Loop offers. It's a unique opportunity to go on a life changing adventure together. Hi, I'm Allison from Loop Life Academy, and today's episode we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons why looping as a family is not just an extraordinary adventure, but is a transformative experience. We're going to explore how the Great Loop can enrich your family life in ways that maybe you never imagined. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's discover why this journey could be the adventure of a lifetime for your family. All right, reason number one that the Great Loop is for families is the quality family time. You're going to live together in a small space, traveling together, doing new things together, and that's going to involve a lot of shared experiences, and those are going to strengthen your family relationships. When you explore towns that you wouldn't necessarily discover while on a road trip, like a road trip, you're going from A to B. On the Great Loop, you're traveling in a boat and you're going to make stops in places that maybe you wouldn't have stopped in a car. And you're all going to get to discover these places together. And what I mean by discover is you find the restaurant, you find the ice cream shop, you find the local park. One of the things that surprised me when we first started our loop is the trying local foods together. So I've got a picky eater, and we started in the Chesapeake, and of all things, he wanted to try oysters while we started in the Chesapeake. And he did. And he has continued to try oysters in multiple places. He has tried new seafoods. And that's just been a great shared experience where we can cheer him on and cheer each other on as we try new things. We also really like to find all of the best ice cream shops wherever we go. So when we figure out where we're going to anchor or what town we might stop at, we'll all hop on Google Maps and do a little research, find out where the closest ice cream shop is, if there is one. If there's more than one, we'll compare notes and we'll figure out where do we want to go and who has the best ice cream all along the loop. So all of those shared experiences really help uh, build those strong family bonds. These experiences also, they allow you to create a story together that you can look back on, hopefully as a really fond set of memories. You'll also build really strong connections, or stronger connections than you maybe already have, because you're spending a lot of extended time together on the loop. That's going to lead to stronger emotional bonds because you're always with each other. There's maybe fewer distractions as you travel together because families now have this opportunity to really listen to each other. You're always in each other's space, and it's time to understand each other's needs and really work together as a team, whether it be on boat maintenance or sailing or figuring out the next stop or route planning. It's all working together. Reason number two that I think great loop adventures are for families is because of the adventure and exploration. There is a thrill of discovering new places. Like I mentioned, those smaller coastal towns. Um, when you go on a road trip, you kind of have a plan of starting at home and then getting to a new destination. And to some extent, that's what you're doing on the loop too. But you're going to so many new places that they're new for everybody. The adults maybe haven't been to a lot of these places before, so you're all figuring it out together. You're navigating literal different waters. You might be in tidal waters or in a canal, a river. You're experiencing unknown things together. The kids sometimes want to know what's next, what's next. You might not know as a parent, and so you can all sit down together and figure out what to expect, or just find out together as a family. You'll also, as part of this adventure, get to discover a lot of hidden gems. And there's a lot of excitement to finding the off the beaten path destinations that maybe aren't in all the guidebooks. So, a few of our favorites are in Medina, that's a fairly small town, we walked a little bit of a distance to find the Railroad Museum and absolutely loved it. When we got to dock at the first lock in the Illinois River from 1870, and then we also got to have a campfire and s'mores with the other cruisers that were there. Together as a family, we followed a crazy winding route into Birdsong Creek, and there were a few shallow spots, and that allowed us to make our way to the only freshwater pearl farm in North America. So there's lots of these little gems. Another one that we really liked in Isla Morada in the Florida Keys. We found a coffee shop called Mr. Beans, and we loved it because Mr. Beans is the cat that lives at the coffee shop. And so we could look at books and pet the cat while we were there. And one more place that we really enjoyed, we enjoyed so many places, but I was thinking about Tarpon Basin the other day in Key Largo. We could walk to the library, and what made it extra enjoyable is right next door there was a Cuban restaurant with authentic Cuban food that we could have lunch at as we needed a break from the library, and it was just really fantastic food. So these hidden gems could be just a secluded beach, or like I said, those charming small towns. Maybe it's a quiet anchorage where you feel like you're the only ones around, but that sense of discovery really adds an element of surprise and wonder to the journey, and it makes every day on the loop really a new adventure. Another part of that adventure that you're having as a family is overcoming new challenges, because the loop is not all sunshine and roses and daisies and butterflies. There are unfamiliar waters and new territories that can present some challenges. There could be tricky navigation, maybe some unpredictable weather, learning how to adapt to the different marine environments, learning how to go through a lock. These kinds of challenges can add up to the adventure that you're having as a family, and they can really help build confidence. And the important part here is the resilience within the family. There's a lot of personal growth in that and group growth, and it's just a really neat thing. I remember when we were in Crystal River. We really loved Crystal River, but the time of year we were there, the waters were actually pretty low, and we're in a sailboat. We draft just under 5 feet, and in order to leave Crystal River, we had to work around the tides and the shallow waters to weave our way out through from the river out into the Gulf. And we grounded a few times. We had to use our stern anchor to hold ourselves so that we wouldn't go further into shallow water. And when the tide came up a little bit more, we were eventually able to winch ourselves into deeper water. So keeping calm in those situations and showing the kids how we problem solved and problem solving together, those are all great learning experiences to build on that adventure and overcome those different challenges. We also really like the cultural exploration as part of our adventure. There's a lot of different opportunities to learn about the different regional cultures and history and traditions. For example, when we visited Charleston in South Carolina, I remember reading about the baskets that you can get in Charleston. And so we watched some YouTube videos for our homeschool lessons and learned more about the history behind those baskets. And then while we were in Charleston, we went to the market and talked to the artists that had some of those baskets. And that was a really neat learning experience as part of our adventure. So engaging with those local communities, trying new foods, all of that participation in the regional festivals, events, history, that all enriches the adventure and helps create those lasting memories. Hi, Allison here from Loop Life Academy. I wanted to take a quick break from the episode to ask you about something. Are you dreaming of tackling America's Great Loop, but you're not sure how to balance it with work and family life? My course, 10 Steps to Adventure, is designed just for you and your family. We'll guide you through everything from setting goals and budgeting to choosing the right boat and managing school on the go. Whether you're just starting to plan or you're ready to take the plunge, this course is going to help you turn your dream into reality. Go to looplifeacademy.com/adventure and check it out now to get one step closer to your Great Loop family adventure. Reason number three that the Great Loop is for families is the hands on learning and educational opportunities. I find that the loop is immersive in all of the learning experiences, whether it's through travel or nature or history. There is so much that you can immerse yourself in. And then there's the flexibility of homeschooling. Most likely, when you move onto your boat, because you're not going to be in a stationary spot, you'll probably do some form of homeschooling. And depending on what you choose, there can be a lot of flexibility in what you're studying, or what time of day even you're studying, or what days of the week. All of this together makes a rich educational environment. And the real world learning beyond the classroom is really something that the Great Loop offers really well. The whole world is our classroom as we travel. We learn through direct experience. It's not just from textbooks. We are out there seeing different animals. We're studying marine biology by observation. Our kids, when we see fish while we're snorkeling, they can identify the fish better than us. As we hear and see different birds in the areas we're in, there's been different birds in all of the different regions. It's fun to ID what they are, and then to find different types of animals in each area that we travel in that maybe we don't have back home in Michigan. We also have been getting to learn geography as we navigate the waterways. And as we've done the loop, we have context around where things are in the eastern United States because of all of our travels in the eastern United States. And this context really helps us as we talk about our nation's early history and understanding the local history of the different historical sites we're at. Forts have been a really neat thing to visit and learn about for the different wars and battles that took place as our country grew and formed. Other topics, math comes up all the time. We use it to calculate departure and arrival times. We use it to understand the tide and the depths. We try to figure out our budget. And anytime my husband Chris or I are doing some math, whether it's for passage planning, for timing, or the current calculations, or marina fees, even, we'll ask the kids to help solve some of those problems. So they're not asking, what are we going to use this for? They're getting lots of real world application of the math skills that they're learning in school. The loop really provides a dynamic and interactive education, and this form of learning engages kids in a way that traditional classroom settings might not. And that makes education so much more exciting and relevant. And all of this is an integration of subjects through different experiences. The cross-disciplinary learning helps the kids see the connections between different subjects and understand how to apply all of that in the real world. And that's a really interesting and helpful skill. Um, I also mentioned earlier the homeschooling flexibility. Like I said, families can tailor the curriculum to the interests of their kids or the places they're visiting. They can adapt lessons to what's around them. We love studying the different ecosystems in national parks or small local parks that we visit. We like to learn about history and local cultures in town. My son became very interested in the Civil War, and as we visited Charleston, like I mentioned earlier, we could stand and look out at the distance that the Confederate artillery from the mainland had to fire on the Union occupied Fort Sumter. And it was interesting to see that and visit it in person to apply that to what we were learning about the Civil War. My daughter is really interested in wildlife, and so we use bird ID apps and a number of fish and animal ID cards that helps us identify the different animals we see in the places we explore. And then weather is always on our minds, and the kids help us identify the different clouds as the weather changes and help us read the radar and things like that. So that education really becomes personalized, and every day is a new adventure in whatever we learn about. Reason number four that the loop is for families is strengthening family bonds and personal and collective growth. There are shared responsibilities that you all have while you're living on a boat that build teamwork. So, living on a boat requires every family member to contribute to the day to day operations, whether that's navigating, docking, cooking, cleaning, and these shared responsibilities teach teamwork. Each person has a very important role in the success and safety of the journey. When we went through the locks in the Erie Canal, we often had the kids doing specific roles. And this gave us a chance to not only teach them what their role was and the importance of those steps, but also to encourage them and build up confidence and help them take ownership of the process with us. So it wasn't just the adults doing all the work. The kids, we found ways to plug them into what made the most sense for us as we all learned together. And doing all of this, everyone feels valued and important to the overall success of this really huge adventure. Another thing that comes with all of this is the communication and cooperation. You are in close quarters, and the close quarters necessitates clear communication and working together. In our boat, there's not a lot of room. When somebody's working in the galley, you can't really squeeze past. So if you need to move along in the boat, you have to communicate, we have to work together, and we have to kind of find ways to help each other, whether that's handing something to somebody that is easier for us to get to, maybe getting food items out of the various stowage areas to help make a meal. We do have some regular roles, like my son does most of the cleaning. My daughter usually fills the water tanks. Cooking, we kind of rotate that through everybody. The kids have their turns where they cook. And really, just as a family, we have to communicate effectively in order to work together to make decisions. Even docking procedures, a lot of times it's just the adults, but we often have the kids out there to help us dock, and they will help throw lines either to dock hands or they will help hook the lines on the cleats. But all of us work together on that, and we talk together about what the next destination is and if plans have to change, and we weigh options together. So, this constant need for collaboration really helps improve the family dynamics, and it makes everyone more attuned to each other's needs and strengths. So, we can see what our kids are really strong at, and we can help build up those skills. With all of this, we celebrate our achievements together. There's a lot of challenges. Most of them are not insurmountable. They're all very achievable, especially as a family, as a team. And as we work through challenges together, that leads to a sense of shared accomplishment. We maybe successfully navigate a tricky passage or master a new skill, like figuring out how to get through locks together, or doing some boat maintenance together. Or for us, we're a sailboat, tacking while under sail, making sure everyone gets a turn to help with tacking. These different achievements become moments of pride that the entire family can celebrate. Even just entering a new state, we would celebrate that together. And these shared victories really reinforce the idea that the family is stronger together, and that deepens the connection, and it helps us to just create lasting memories together. I also want to mention building up resilience and adaptability. There is an unpredictable nature of life on the loop. The weather changes, there are mechanical issues, you're in unfamiliar waters, and all of this requires a family to work together to solve problems. We're teaching our kids the importance of staying calm under pressure and thinking creatively to help find solutions. We adapt our plans based on changing circumstances all the time. It could be a route change due to the weather. Today, we were planning on sailing for a couple of hours to get to a new anchorage. The weather just didn't work out, so we changed our plans, and tomorrow looks like a better day, so we'll probably sail to a different anchorage. We'll alter schedules because of unexpected delays. All of this teaches the kids and the adults flexibility, and sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's okay. What matters is how each of us as a family responds, and we all help each other by seeing how we respond and learn different ways to have patience or be flexible. All right, reason number 5 that the Great Loop is for families is you're creating lifelong memories. There are so many unforgettable experiences to share. When we started our loop in the Chesapeake Bay, we saw dolphins on that first day. And when we came out of the river system into Mobile, we saw dolphins on that day. And we still see dolphins all the time, and we love getting to see dolphins. But those were shared experiences that were really important to us. In the Florida Keys, we saw sharks. We went out exploring in our dinghy and some kayaks, and we found some shallow waters, and we got to see a nurse shark and a blackfin shark. And that was so fun to experience that together. In Crystal River, the manatees. Are so many manatees in Crystal River, and we loved getting to visit with the manatees on our dinghy on a regular basis. We actually spent a few weeks there and just really enjoyed our time there. Uh, all the cities that we visited, St. Augustine and the history there, New York and just the big grandeur of it, Chicago, all of that. We've got so many lasting memories from all of that. And the unique experiences that come in every location. No place is the same. So we create memories that are entirely unique to our journey on the loop, and you will too. Each stop adds a new chapter to your family's story, whether it's a new historic site, or it's just a really cute town, or maybe you saw some wildlife, like we saw a bear as we were going up the Dismal Swamp. Those once in a lifetime moments can't be replicated somewhere else. It's all just something that you experience in the moment together while looping. And those shared milestones and celebrations are also something that's going to be unique and new. Birthdays, you're going to be gone for about a year. Birthdays are going to be in a new setting. You're not at home. You're not going to do the same thing. You're going to come up with maybe a new tradition. It might be just a tradition for that one year, but maybe something will come out of it that you'll want to repeat each year. Holidays will be a little bit different. Milestones along the loop as you enter a new state or reach 1,000 miles or whatever the different milestones are for you. So all of those different things are just wonderful things that add to your adventure. So to review, what our top 5 reasons that the loop is for families. Number 1, quality family time. It's a transformative experience doing the loop. Adventure and exploration is number 2. Number 3, hands-on learning and educational opportunities with that homeschool flexibility. Number 4, strengthening family bonds and personal growth and collective growth. And then number 5, creating those lifelong memories. So think about what we talked about here and what the Great Loop might mean for you and for your family. Remember, it's not just a trip. It's going to be a lifestyle, at least for that year, that brings you closer together. It's going to challenge you to grow, you and the kids. It's going to reward you with experiences that will last a lifetime. And if you're looking for ways to connect, learn, and explore as a family, the Great Loop might just be calling your name. I'd really love to hear more about what you think. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe comment below and let me know what you think the best reason to take your family on this adventure would be. Thanks for joining us today. If you're inspired to start planning your own family Great Loop adventure, be sure to check out our other resources at looplifeacademy.com and stay connected for more tips, stories, and inspiration. Until next time, happy looping.